like we have a chance for some snow in the forecast. We're going to go over that. We're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to also talk a little bit of boxing. Who do you got? Drop it in the comments. Big boxing event tonight going on. I guess there's a guy named Mike Tyson, and he's fighting some dude named Jake Paul. Little bit of an age difference. Drop a comment. Let me know. Who do you got in this little bout tonight? I think it's getting fixed and ready to go right now. But you know what? Having hobbies is something that's fun, and it's important. You got to let your hair down. If you got hair, and have a little bit of fun. So that's what I'm doing. And I hope that you bring your weather questions, because we're going to talk about what's behind me. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 models that I've reviewed and have gone over with regards to our storm system next week. And for hunters, we have a chance of some snow this week. Your forecast begins right now.
Now, a Hutch's weather update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
All right, everybody. Well, here we go. Let's take a look at what we have going on in the forecast. There's some big time changes as we go through our forecast period, but we're going to start with a couple of things. Thing number one is that, well, we definitely have some challenges in the forecast as we go through the weekend. Nothing too terrible, but the last couple of nights we've had fog. So let's take a quick look at the fog in the forecast for tonight. As me and the fiddle here, I'm just trying to figure out where it is I'm going. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at the model that shows us a little bit of detail with regards to our fog chances. And then I've got some photos that you uploaded tonight. There's a super moon out there, right? It's that beaver moon. It's the last super moon of the year. And I got to tell you, there's been some shots of that. I've got filtered moonlight here in Moorhead. I don't know what you're seeing over in your neck of the woods. So that's why I love it when you share your shots. Here's a look at the fog forecast. Notice it spreading across the valley. Where we see the pinks is where we'll have the better chance at seeing some heavier fog during the overnight hours. This is midnight. And then as we go towards morning, it looks like the best chance for those low clouds and fog will generally be right behind my melon here into central Minnesota, Lakes Country, Otter Tail, Becker County, north into the Beltrami County area, Park Rapids and Hubbard counties. Those areas will have the decent chance at seeing some low clouds and fog. Now, let's talk about snow as we go into the day tomorrow. For hunters in northwest North Dakota, north central North Dakota, there's a decent chance. And if you happen to be like Hutch and you're from Montana, well, I got to tell you, the big sky country of Montana will have a chance at seeing some showers of snow tomorrow. And in fact, I think some of the most lofty snowfall totals will be out in that neck of the woods. And you know what? There's something to keep in mind here when it comes to that, and that's drought. So let's see if I can show this over here for you. This is a look at our drought index across the nation. And this is how we sat last week. A lot of drought across the entire nation. For your reference, yellows means it's just abnormally dry. And that would be us here in Grand Forks and Fargo and parts of Minnesota, though, where we see these oranges. That's some severe drought conditions. That includes the Bemidji area and the headwaters of the Mississippi River, the southern Red River Valley out here. Look at Montana. Look at western North Dakota. The red, that's extreme drought. This is how we sat last week. Now, we did get a little bit of rain here and there, particularly in Lakes Country of Minnesota. And it wasn't a drought buster, but we got a solid inch of rain. That was not all accounted for in this update this week for rainfall totals, but we did get some improvement here possibly. Now, the wet weather that's coming our way could bring a little bit of moisture to parts of Montana and parts of northwest Minnesota. Northwest North Dakota, rather, as we go through the next 24 hours. So let's take a look at this forecast now once again, and let's drop in with a look at what we have going on. Now, this forecast model here is going to be the latest run, and it's going to go through the overnight hours here as we take a look at our snowfall chances. Now, as we go through the overnight hours and by daybreak, we'll have rain showers overnight in places like the Highway 2 corridor here from Williston straight out through Culbertson, Wolf Point, and Brockton. That's where the best chance at a few showers of rain will be. But by daybreak, if you are hunting out there, it does look like it will mix with and change over to snow, likely in the wee hours hours of sunrise here. This is 6 a.m., so it's still not even risen yet, the sun. So we're going to talk about some conditions there that have moderate to maybe even heavier bands of snow here and there. This is west of Sydney, west of Glendive, but Glendive, you're in the mix to see some as you go through your day. Now, most of the snow stays out of North Dakota at daybreak, and then after that, we'll have a chance at it moving in. So if you are hunting, take a look at this. There is that chance of seeing a few of these showers of snow push their way in as we go through. I'm trying to locate the model run that'll go out just a little bit farther. Now, as we go through in time and go toward the dinner hour, Minot and on into Towner County having a chance of those flakes and gusty north winds. So this is some wind-driven snow on the backside of that system. That is on your Saturday night, and then it's on its way out of here. Here's a look at snowfall potential with this on the latest model runs. A little bit of an update from my last broadcast here. Let me make this bigger so I can see and I don't have to squint. All right, let's see. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run through the risk or the amount of snow potential with this system as we go through. And here we go. Now, these numbers are going to be pretty close to accurate for what the high side of the range will be. And I say pretty close to accurate because we're less than 24 hours out. And this is a high resolution model. And this is what we're seeing. The darker purple colors you see there in northeast Montana showing that by the time we get to that Sunday morning time frame, look at that, 14 inches. So do I think we're going to see seriously 14 inches of snow? That's a stretch for this time of the year, but it could happen in an isolated spot or two that we get something over 8 to 10 inches of snow. Now, that's a lot of snow. That's a lot of precipitation and moisture. So we'll take the moisture no matter how we get it. And it does look like that's right near Glendive, Montana with that 4 to 5 inches of snow with some peaks a little bit higher than that. What I'm going to do is switch this over to another comparable model that it was updated at the same time, and it shows similar snowfall amounts up to around 1 inch to 5 inches in northeast Montana, with some higher pockets here and there that could be as high as 10 inches. Two models saying more than 8 inches will be possible at a couple of places in Montana. Northwest North Dakota, a little bit lower with the snowfall potential. And if you happen to be a Minot, it should be under 1 inch for you based on this particular model. So that's how we read the models. It's not a forecast because we haven't even seen the bands of precipitation head up yet or set up yet, but two models in agreement that eastern Montana, northeastern Montana, and northwest North Dakota have the best chance at seeing some appreciable amounts of snow. All right, has anybody dropped a comment on who they think is going to win this fight? I want to see your answers here. Let's see what we got. Hi from Shevlin. Good to have you on board, Kathy. I guess we could use the moisture. Indeed, Wesley says going to snow. Going to Wahpeton, Breckenridge. When is the snow going to hit Breckenridge, Wahpeton? The best chance for us in the near term is going to be next week on Wednesday. I think the better chance is up north, and I'll give you an update on that. Now, I do have a YouTube channel that I went in depth about 4 different models, but I'm going to show that to you right now since you asked, because Wesley, I want to make sure you get the information that you came for right here and right now. So let's go to it. Here is a look at the 4 models. Now, I showed this last night. This was last night's 4 models. The Canadian said this is Minnesota. It's getting whacked. Look at the northern Red River Valley. The pinks here, not good. Okay, way too far out, though, to get specific about amounts of snow, though. So we won't even worry about these amounts. The American model, same thing, but it's a little farther west into North Dakota. Said North Dakota's getting snow. And, by the way, the Southern Valley and Wahpeton, Breckenridge, and the Sisseton Hills with a chance of snow in that model. So this was yesterday's model runs. The German model was similar to the American model, the European. So there were 3 out of 4 models that showed more snow in North Dakota than in Minnesota, and the Canadian model stood proudly by itself. That's where we were yesterday. Let me show you the change in that, and it's kind of interesting. Now you're looking at the German model. It pushes it even farther out to the west. So this system now says northeast Montana, and you know what? Some of this snow falls with the system that we're talking about tomorrow on Saturday. Now, here's a look at the European model. This one has most of the snow in North Dakota on an axis from northwest to southeast. Fargo, Moorhead, Wahpeton, Breckenridge, really not seeing much. And in this model, it says not much for Minnesota. We have noticed a change in the European model, a significant change from all in Minnesota in the valley to nope, it's going to happen out to the west now. That's a huge jump. That's 100, 200 miles at least that it's pushed that snow band off to the west. That's what I mean about we can't really be too precise with where we're going to track this snow. And that's why I'm telling you what we're seeing with meteorology, meteorologists are looking at with the models. And this is why I want to tell you about what we are seeing and what it means, because it's too early to make a call. If you're seeing folks online or in other places say how much snow. Hey, Laurel, good to have you on board. Andrew, good to see you. Andrew says Tyson's got this fight. You know what? I've seen a lot of boxing from Mike Tyson with my age group. Let's say I'm over 29, and I got to tell you, even not only back in his heyday, he's just a very impressive fighter. So Bonnie says, fight? What fight? Yeah, there's a big fight tonight with Mike Tyson, who was big in the 80s and is back at it again, cheering on UND at the hockey game. So it's natural to see snow in the forecast. That's right, Gene. It's that time of the year. So now we've looked at two models. European has made a big shift to the left. And as we just looked at the one predecessor, the Canadian says not much of anything. Oop, there's the Canadian, pardon me. It says everything's shifting north with northern Minnesota, not out of the gun. And remember, most of this is falling in that window that we're seeing tomorrow on Saturday. And now the American model shows this. So the American model shows a heavy dose of snow in and along the border counties. And this does include the Devil's Lake Basin. Again, the amounts I really would take with a grain of salt. And one thing as a meteorologist, I will tell you, these global models, which is what we are looking at here, usually overblow the aerial coverage of big snow. So this huge area of pink, usually we don't see that. Usually we'll see a narrow band with heavier amounts of snow. So we'll keep our eyes on that for you. But now, mainly 3 out of the 4 models say the southern Red River Valley gets missed, and the American model is the sole one that has Fargo in the mix to see some measurable snow in the forecast. Go UND at the good old hockey game. Always love hockey. It's always a fun sport. I had a couple of kids myself that played some hockey. Is that total precipitation falling or the number lower due to the ground and air temperatures? You know what? It's hard to say, Michael. You got a great question there. We're at the time of the year where the ground is warm, so snow doesn't build up as fast. There is a difference between snowfall and snowpack, what we measure, say, the next day. However, we can't always go out there and measure snow as it's falling every hour, right? Because we need a ruler and a person to go out and do that. Now, if we had that luxury, we would have different numbers with regards to snow, but it's pretty much agreed upon. We'll take that measurement first thing in the morning when everybody wakes up. So that said, is that the reason? No. The main reason for the change in what we're seeing on the models, Michael, is because of the change in the track and also the temperature, the timing when the cold air mingles with this system to bring that probability of snow and increase it. That's a wonderful question. I really am glad you asked it. Good evening, Simon. Go Gophers. The Minnesota Golden Gophers. Are you talking hockey? Okay, Gene Baird says go Sioux. Okay, Tracy says that, and it looks like Simon. Okay, we've got us a good old disagreement of sorts. I know what it is like to root for your home teams there. All right, so that's what we got going on with this storm system now. I will tell you this. I have a model run where I went through 3 or 4 different models, and I talked a little bit about some of the questions that you're asking here. So I'd love to have you check that out and go look at it. But for now, let me go ahead and close with a look at our forecast. So here's the update from our first image here. Okay, notice there's a lot less snow on 3 out of the 4 models here, really taking most of the energy, says the Canadian and the German model, into Canada. And the European model and the American model still have North Dakota in line for some snow. What's Hutch's hunch? What do I think with regards to this system? Well, I think that this is the type of system coming from the south that's going to bring moisture with it. So I do think there's going to be plentiful moisture with this system. But a couple of models are steering this system a little bit more toward the Great Lakes. If that happens, that's going to take what the snow chances mainly off into Minnesota. So it's kind of interesting to me that of these models, only one shows significant Minnesota snow, only one, and that's the American model. I think based on what I'm seeing, since it's coming at us straight from the south, there's a more higher probability that this system slides off toward the Great Lakes. And if that happens, that's going to really shift this back to the right as we go through the next couple of days, which would put the valley, Red River Valley, and Minnesota more under the gun for some snow. Here's what I know. chances are with a system like this, the best chance of snow is going to be up north where the colder air is going to originate from. And it's going to highly depend upon the speed that this system moves through our area. This is relying on the fact that some of these models say not much because it zips through here very quickly. The German model and the Canadian model zip the low right through North Dakota fairly quickly. This one, not the case. The European Parkstat low pressure system in southern Minnesota and central and northern Iowa, and that is a great and wonderful spot for snow if you like snow across the Dakotas, including South Dakota. So that's what it looks like now. There'll be some wet weather with this system as well. Now I want to show you some pictures because I promised some viewers I would get to them here, and they're awesome. And your photos of this moon, spectacular. Your photos of the sunsets, amazing. And I asked you to send photos in showing me what you see. And this is what I get from Cullum. Yup. You know what? When you're out hunting this is Herman sharing this from the Cullum area, looking through the scope, you can really see the colors in the sky through the scope there. What a great shot. What a wonderful shot. Good luck hunting. Please be safe. We've already heard of too many tragedies going on with that, so we want everybody to be safe out there. And you know what? If you're looking for some snow, maybe you got yourself a tag in the northwestern quadrant of North Dakota. Here's another shot from that Cullum area. Look at that. Thanks again, Herman, for sharing that through the eyes of a scope. Now, here's a beautiful scene, and this one from Lakes Country. I want to thank Kelly Youngs for taking the time for uploading this photo here of the gorgeous red color in the sky, the clouds mingling with the setting sun and producing a lot of gorgeous colors out there. So this weekend, as you're out and about, if you get snow in northwest North Dakota, upload it to hutchesweather.com. I would sure appreciate it. But for now, I think I'm going to call this a day. I will be here for you this weekend and provide you with a simple update of what we're seeing with regards to this storm system next week, because it could very well impact travel as we take a look at this model here. And this isn't my favorite model. I just want to go out and let you know that this is not how I think things are going to transpire. But what I do want to point out is that many of these models are showing that as we zoom in on the northern plains, that we're going to have wind and snow combining. So here is a look at the American model, and I call this a crummy run. This one was a big change over what we were seeing in the other ones. But essentially, we have tight isobars here with precipitation making its way through. The time frame is very early in the morning on Tuesday, and that's when the transition to snow is set to begin. So wind and snow could mean travel impacts, and that means I have my eye on it for you. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Remember, you can always check out the latest weather on this weekend's snow system on hutchesweather.com. Hutchesweather.com, no matter where you are or when you're there, you can see the interactive radar for what's going on. If there's warnings in your area, please let my website track your location, and we'll let you know when warnings are out and about. And for those of you who like a little rock and like a little roll, just a little bit of jamming right here, because I have a hobby. I like to play a little guitar, and I hope you have a hobby too. So here we go.